Thank you for joining us for the series of UCSC reimbursement training presented by the Baskin School of Engineering Business Office. This video will include step-by-step instructions on how to complete the UCSC post-travel expense form. You want to use this form for a reimbursement for allowable travel expenses after you travel. You have 45 days to file a post-travel expense form, but it's recommended that you do so within 10 days of returning from your trip. So on the screen right now is information on traveling through the university and how to get reimbursed and what you can be reimbursed for. And the way you get to this information is if you open up a new web browser tab, and you go to financial.ucsc.edu, and you get to the main financial affairs page, and you go to processes and services tab, and come down to travel and select travel. And that will bring you to this page that has a lot of information that's very valuable for filling out your travel forms. So before you travel, you might want to do a travel advance request, and we have a video on how to do that. But you definitely, before you travel, even if you don't do a travel advance request, you want to get departmental pre-approval for your trip. You want to make sure your payment information is up to date, and that's the Payee Setup 204 form. And we have a video on that also if you need help on filling out that form. Here it will show you of ways you can pick to pay for your trip. It can describe to you how to travel using Connexus or other means, and then some considerations for foreign travel. This section here, key tips for UCSC travelers, would be good to read if you've not done travel yet and need to know some more information about traveling for UCSC business. In the middle is while you travel, there's a list of allowable expenses. You always want to get your receipts. Keep them. We want the original receipts at this point. Footing the bill for others is not advised. If you do, you'll have to fill out an entertainment reporting addendum. And different types of travel is a section here on that. Then at the bottom here is the full travel guide. It gives you all the information about what is allowable, not allowable, and suggestions on traveling. The next section is meals and incidental expense rates. Right now, the maximum allowable meals in the United States, not including Alaska and Hawaii, is $62 a day. And that can change. So you want to check in here and see what's allowable as you do your form. The currency converter is what you want to use if you're doing foreign travel and you've paid for things in a foreign coin. Then you need to convert that to US dollars, and this currency converter can help you do that. You need to show your exactly how you converted it. The conversion needs to be on the day that the expense was made. So you want to look for the currency on the day the expense was made to figure out what the US dollars is equivalent. Right now, 2019, it's 58 cents a mile for mileage rates. And that generally changes every year. So you want to make sure you use the right post-travel form. And I'll show you how to load that up also. The next is, how do I get help? If you need help on specific questions about travel, what's reimbursable, the rules, the guidelines, this travel help at ucsc.edu is a great resource. And then the next section is after you travel, which is what we're going to be working on. Again, it has a section on allowable expenses. As I mentioned, you have 45 days to file your post-travel, recommended to do it 10 days after returning from your trip. The three big forms are your payee setup form, your TAR if you have one, and your post-travel. So if you do a travel advance request, you have to file a post-travel also. Here's rates and information for rental cars and personal automobile usage. You'll want to read that. Currently, rental cars are only reimbursed up to the intermediate size level or anything below. Down here is us availability to open up the form. So this icon is for the 2019 rates. If you traveled in 2018, you'd want to go to the 2018 form. And there is also a section on post-travel instructions. If you want to review that, that would be good. And other post-travel forms you may need. So this is a great resource to review all this before you complete your form. So now I am going to show you how to open up the post-travel form. So we're going to do a 2019 form, so we're going to click on that. And a pop-up window comes up and asks and lets you know that you need to download the PDF and open it up in Adobe Acrobat in order to fill it in. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So we're going to close that pop-up. We're going to click on the PDF again. And a window comes up. And in the upper right corner is your download button. It's a down arrow. You're going to click that. Then a menu is going to come up and it's going to ask you, where do you want to save this file? I'm going to save it to the desktop, but you can save it wherever you can locate the file on your computer. So we're going to save it, and that's going to download it into your directory. So I've saved mine to my desktop. Once you find the file, you want to right click on it. Don't do a left click or a double left click to open it up. You will have to do a right click. So you get this menu come up, and then you go down to open with, and you need to open it with Adobe Acrobat Reader. So you want to select that, and it opens up the window with the form. And it is in a mode that you can fill it in. You cannot save the data into this form, so you can save the form as a PDF, but you won't be able to edit the data. So first thing, like I mentioned, you need to fill out this payee setup form. And so we're going to assume you've already done that. That form allows them, well, first of all, it pops up and reminds you that you can't save this, but you can fill it in and print it and then save it as a PDF, but you won't be able to edit it. So we're going to close that. So you want to check off that you've submitted your 204 form, which allows them to have you in the system to be able to write you a check or direct deposit for any reimbursements. This is separate from if you're on payroll. So you need to have this 204 form even if you're on payroll for them to be able to send you reimbursements. Okay, so we're going to go right on down into these sections. The first one is you're going to fill in the traveler's name. You want to go last name, first name. You want to put in the traveler's email address. You want to put in the traveler's phone number. You want to put in a campus mail stop or a mailing address. So you'd put a mailing address in if this individual was not a UCSC student or employee. You would put it in if they're a visitor. In fact, over here under affiliation, you need to choose whether this person is a visitor, UC student, or UC employee. And we're going to say this is a UC employee. You need to identify whether they're a U.S. citizen or not. And you need, if they're not a U.S. citizen and you choose no, you need to select what type of foreign visa they have or not applicable. And if they are a UC employee or student, you need to choose what campus they're located. So if their reimbursement is going to be mailed to them, you would put in their street or P.O. box, city, state, and zip information. Then you need to fill in the trip information. So this person is going to San Diego. So you want to put in the city, state, country as applicable. The UC purpose is generally the conference, whatever business trip information that is a UC business purpose, you want to put that in there. The departure date, the time, it can be approximate, 8 a.m. The return date, and return time. Okay, so a little bit about your departure date and return date. If you're traveling and you're going to be doing personal travel either before or after your conference, you need to identify that information on your post-travel. So if you use airfare and you fly early, then you need to get a cost comparison air flight as if you had flown on the day that was necessary for you to be able to get to the conference. And the same on the way back. If you stay later, you need to get a cost comparison airfare and as if you had flown back on the day that the conference was over. And that cost comparison would need to be printed out and attached. And if the cost comparison for the airfare is cheaper, if you've gone on the days that would have been before or after the conference, then that's what you'll get reimbursed for, rather than the actual cost of you flying earlier and coming back later. All right, so we are going to put in the dates for each day that we're at the conference. So we have the 30th, we have the 31st, and the 1st, February 1st. Okay, so airfare has an asterisk next to it. So does rental car, so does conference registration, so does lodging. That, you can see at the bottom, indicates that original itemized receipts are required to be attached to your post-travel, regardless of the amount. The items that don't have an asterisk only require the original receipts be attached if the expense is $75 or more, and you can read that down here. So if you have expenses on a day that are $75 or more, but it's maybe 2 or 3 Uber rides, you need to attach those receipts because they total up to $75 or more. Okay, so let's say we're going to do airfare. So you type in your airfare amount and you will attach a receipt that includes the itinerary, the name of the traveler, the amount that was paid, and the proof of purchase. that you purchased that airfare. And let's say you split up. Sometimes you can split up your airfare. We're going to have $175 going to San Diego and $200 coming home from San Diego. Notice it automatically adds up your amounts that you populate in here in your total expense column and your totals at the bottom. Let's go back up here and put in who the form was prepared by. It can be prepared by you or someone else in your department. Put in their email and their extension. All right. Now for this particular post-travel, we also did a travel advance request. And if you do a travel advance request, you also want to put in a trip number here that you get from the FAST office for your trip. They send you an email with a trip number for you to be able to pay for or get reimbursed for expenses before you travel. So you want to put that number in here. Then you want to list whatever you got paid for in advance or was paid by FAST for you in advance. So in this instance, the $375 for airfare was paid in advance. We also got $350 paid for the conference fee in advance. And we also got $200 as a cash advance. And you'll see that the total will populate up here. And we're going to put those, or it automatically puts those amounts down here. So you got your $725 for your airfare and your conference, and your $200 for your cash advance. So you put it up in this section that this is what you got in advance. You include it in the post-travel, so the total amount of your post-travel includes what you were paid in advance, and then it subtracts it out, and then your end result will be what portion you get reimbursed. Okay, let's say we drove to the airport. It was 33 miles. And we drove back from the airport another 33 miles. So you see this is a 2019 form, and the rate is 58 cents a mile. So you want to make sure you use the current form for the current year so it calculates the mileage rate properly. And then your total expense is automatically added in for you. All right, let's say while we were in San Diego, we also rented a car. So it was $50. Now notice this rental car requires that you have a original receipt. Don't include insurance. Rental insurance is not something that is reimbursable. You can reach out to Risk Services, and you can file with them your trip information, and then you can get insurance through them that the university will cover you, and it doesn't cost anything. So if you want insurance for your trip, you can do that through Risk Services. All right, and then our next thing is we had some transportation, $10, taxi, Uber, Lyft, however, shuttle, whatever transportation expenses you had. We can put some notes in over here in comments that helps the person to understand the travel. So, for instance, I had mentioned if you travel early to make a note here and add cost comparison. If you you can put a note in here that your Santa Cruz to and from San Jose Airport is what the mileage is. You can make a comment here, rented car in San Diego. Other transportation can be an Uber ride. All right, now parking, maybe you have some parking at the airport. You would pay when you come back, let's say it's $75. And since that's over $75, 75 or more, you'll need to make sure you attach that receipt. You can make a comment, parking at airport. Conference registration was $350. And you should have that receipt already attached to your travel advance request. If you don't, you want to attach it there. The same with the airfare. You paid for airfare in advance, or if you didn't attach the receipts to your travel advance request, you need to attach them here for proof of purchase. Okay, now we have lodging, $250. So you want to split out each night that you stay there. And currently the maximum lodging is $275 a night in the US, not including taxes and fees. So if you exceed the $275, you will not get reimbursed for more than that. Let's see. Next is meals and incidentals. So as I said, the maximum right now is up to $62 a day. If your conference provides meals, you're only going to get reimbursed for the extra meals that you bought that the conference didn't provide. All right. Foreign per diem, domestic long-term, that's if you did foreign travel and you want to read up on how to do foreign travel, foreign per diem, that's all in the previous screen. Domestic long-term, that's also in the previous in the travel guide. All right, miscellaneous and entertainment. We had some baggage fees, some Wi-Fi, some fuel for the car. So $42 here and $45 here. And this has a double asterisk because it wants you to explain what miscellaneous is. So we're going to explain miscellaneous as Wi-Fi, bag fees, fuel for car. And again, if this one day totals over is 75 or more, you want to attach receipts. Okay, so we now have our airfare, our mileage, our rental car, our Uber, parking, conference fee, lodging, meals, and miscellaneous expenses. So our total reimbursement is going to be $660.28. Okay, you want to make sure that your airfare, $375, and your reg fee, $350 match up. Okay, so we are now going to go down to our funding, our FOPL. So you need to put a FOPL in here. The fund is 5 numbers. The org is 6 numbers. The account code can be entered by the person that's your Tier 2 signer. Activity code is optional, and you need to type in the amount again that you're going to get reimbursed. Okay, so after you do that, you're going to sign it. Traveler signature is required. and a Tier 1 signature is required. So if you are responsible for the funding, you can sign as Tier 1. If you're the traveler also, you can sign in both places. At least sign in one of those places if you're the traveler and Tier 1. If you're the traveler and somebody else is Tier 1, you're going to need to sign as traveler and have your Tier 1 person sign that's responsible for this funding. You want to attach to this document the receipts as identified previously and supporting documentation regarding the business trip. So the Data Security Business Conference might have a flyer, there might be an email, there might be an agenda, something to print out to attach to this that identifies that there was actually this conference on these dates that you attended. All right, and then you're going to attach all that and you're going to submit it to the business office for the School of Engineering. Currently, we're located in BE, room 345, and you submit all those documents, and then if there's more documents that are required, you'll get an email of information. Otherwise, you can just know that it's being processed. Once it gets to the reviewer, then it goes to the Tier 2 signer. If there's exception to policy requirement, for whatever reason, something that you have paid for is not under policy, but it can be signed off as exception to policy, down here, the dean would sign that for you to get reimbursed for any exception to policy. All right, so if you need other help, remember travel help at ucsc.edu for additional assistance. And thank you for watching the video and have a great day.